Welcome to the red half of Sheffield's viral video part of our podcast. And for you guys watching this, you can see I am joined by Jack of I have to ask the question, the Butter Pie Pod, a
Yep.
Preston North End podcast. Welcome, Jack. How are you today? And I guess I will start by asking how you're doing and how did they come up with the name of the podcast?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. And the name simply it comes from the butter pie, which is a Preston delicacy. It's uh, um, mashed potato, butter, and onion.
Oh, okay.
It's only ever served in Preston or places like Chorley, basically the surrounding areas. You will not find it anywhere outside of Preston.
Huh.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle being away from home and not being able to get one. But that's really it. We just thought, what's the most Prestonian thing? It's the butter pie. It's literally
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Literally, that's the name.
Very interesting. Yeah, I mean, I've interviewed a bunch of pods this year or different opponent pods, and just like weird to find out how the name came to be because there's some weird podcast names, and it's like I give it credit to the opponent, some of the opponents for just coming up with the most random titles. Like our podcast is the red half of Sheffield. I just kept it simple. I didn't even think
Exactly.
anything about it, but um, nevertheless, thanks, Jack, for coming on. I'll
No problem,
start.
mate.
I'll start with this. Go ahead and sum up Preston's season to a whole. I mean, it's crazy to think you guys are within a shout of getting in the playoffs.
How would I sum up this season? A, a bloody roller coaster. Honestly, I have no idea. It started off very well. We were defensively solid. We just couldn't score. Then we
Mhm.
suddenly learned how to score, and then we started chipping goals. So it's been more trying to find the balance, and we've struggled to find that balance still. But it definitely wasn't pretty at all for a few months. But obviously March and April, it's picked up a little bit. And now all of a sudden we are within a shout for the playoffs. Although if you are to ask me, I don't think it's going to happen. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Oof, if you had to put a percentage on it, I mean, there are a bunch of teams in front of you currently, so a lot of teams and hurdles to jump over. If you were to put a percentage on the chances of Preston North End making the playoffs, what would you give it with better part of 2 games left in the season?
10%, I'd say. I think I go 10%. I just don't see it happening. I think the opportunity should have been. We should have. The opportunity just went as soon as we lost to Swansea. That was it.
Yeah.
For me, that was it. And then drawing to Blackburn only just made it worse.
Mhm.
Even though it was a good draw for many of the teams around us, and for us as well, because I can't stand losing to them. And but yeah, no, it's been one of them where these last 3 games, like we haven't played particularly badly or anything. I thought we should have come away with all 3 points last night, and I still think we should have beaten Millwall, but at the end of the day, we just haven't been taking our chances, and that's what's going to cost us.
Yeah, yeah. No, I completely understand you with that, but it's just it's so crazy. And we were talking beforehand. You anything can happen. It's the championship. It's the world's most
Mm-hmm.
unpredictable league, and so I mean,
Absolutely.
10% might as well be 99% if if you catch us right, and we've done the business and got promoted, and are probably 90% of our players will still be in the bars come 3 p.m. kickoff next Saturday.
Exactly.
You might have a chance. So if I were you guys, I would be pulling hard for the red and white guys
Oh,
on
absolutely.
against West Brom midweek. So I guess I'll ask you this. Preston, every time I look at the championship, they're just like a bang average, and I don't mean this in any slight. They're a bang average championship
I don't
side.
mind.
It's like every season you're like, okay, I don't know much about Preston, and that's weird because I love the championship and I love all the teams in it, but it's just like almost every year, if you look at the end of the season, they're slap right in the middle,
Hmm.
slap right in the middle. What
Hmm.
now? I guess I'll ask you this question: are you guys content, or is like the fan base almost growing wary of, okay, here comes another season in the championship? We're not in any issue with we're not in any trouble, and we're not going to get relegated. We're just
Hmm.
probably going to be between 12th to 16th, maybe challenge for the playoffs. Does that weigh on the fan base, or is Preston's fan base almost kind of like set in their ways almost?
Um, I think it's in recent years we've started to grow a little bit frustrated with it because under Alex Neil in the 2017-18 season we were so close to it,
Mhm.
and then it was from that season on we all the fans went, we just got to keep adding to the squad. We can't get rid of our best players. We just got to keep chasing it. We just got to throw money at it and keep chasing it and get out of the league, because it's been since like the 1950s or the start of the 60s that we've been in the top flight. So
Mhm.
everyone's growing frustrated. It's like, it's about time that we just showed a little bit of ambition, throw money at it, and just go for it. And yeah, but it hasn't happened like that. We sold players like Callum Robinson to use,
Mhm.
actually. Jordan Hugill, I'm trying to think of more. Ben Pearson, Ben Davis, all them players went, and we not particularly replaced them with the best. But we just haven't really, just hasn't clicked for us at all in the last few years, and we just, we're fine with being a championship club, but it's starting to get to the point where there are contracts running out, etc., and all that, and then players might look to move on, like Ben Whiteman, and we're not exactly content with how the board will recruit to replace those players. We don't really trust them that much, and yeah, we're just worried that, oh, my camera just went off. I have no idea how, but wait, there we go. I'm back. Yeah, no, just seriously, we are worried that if we just don't fix up now and don't get these players tied down to longer term deals, and we end up selling our best players again, that
Mhm.
we could find ourselves in a bit of a bother next season as well. Like next season, like some of us, some of the fans I've spoken to think we could genuinely be in a relegation fight next season.
Really? Wow, that's
Mm.
that's that certainly is not what you want to hear coming from, it must be weighing heavily
Yeah,
on you guys to think, man, the possibility of a relegation battle for a team that's, almost become a staple of a they're one
absolutely.
of
Yeah.
the teams I think of when it comes to the championship. Preston's always in that league, and it's just,
Hmm.
you know, is it a behind the scenes issue like we've seen at the likes of Reading and Wigan, or is it just almost complacency to not do anything?
uh, I just, I don't know. It's nothing. It's like behind the scenes, it's not as bad as people think. We're debt free. We are very well run in most aspects. It's just the player recruitment and the ambition where people are questioning,
Mhm.
and the way we invest. It's been a massive call for concern for ages, and it's like, obviously with players like we had players like Ben Davis who went to Liverpool because he
Mhm.
ran down his contract. Ben Pearson, who was going to run down his contract and ended up going to Bournemouth. It's just like we haven't exactly replaced them with the best of quality. We've not really reinvested that money properly. Although we brought in players like Ben Whiteman, who is just about to enter the final year of his deal, so we could have a similar situation with him. It's just like we're just not exactly content with the player recruitment and just the ambition. Really, it feels like we're not being not heard, but because the fan engagement from the board since a meeting that took place last year absolutely has gone. It's been miles better. There's
Mhm.
more transparency, and that's just the start of it. Really, it's just that we just hope that they can just show the same ambition as the fans want, or the fans have, and hopefully we can build a squad that might not challenge for the playoffs next season, but can keep us steady mid-table, and then basically like this season where we can flirt with the playoffs, but
Yeah.
then the season after we can really go for it and push for it, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we just want the ambition matched, and hopefully, obviously with the fan engagement being so much more better now, that they will do that. But I'm not exactly, optimistic when it comes to that.
Yeah, no, I 100% understand that. So you alluded to some of the former players that Preston, good players that Preston did let go, and our listeners and people watching this will know Ben Davies. He was at Liverpool, got loaned to United last season, and played a decent amount. Had a couple of influential goals for United last year. He was a
Think he
good player,
scored
but it
scored a
just went.
last minute equaliser against Blackburn, didn't he? I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
I
I
love that one so much.
Oh yeah, I absolutely lost it when I was at work and
I lost it.
I had it on the TV streaming through the Chef United Way or Chef United TV app, and I lost it, and people are looking at me like, "Where? What the hell just happened?" I said, "Because we needed that game against Blackburn, and just Ben Davies with that goal. I mean, yeah, that. Looking back at that last year, that was one of the signature goals that got us into the playoffs, and then
Yeah,
obviously,
exactly.
Nottingham Forest happened. But
Yeah.
yeah, we really liked him. I would honestly like to sign him for United this last year, but turns out obviously we're broke. So who are some of the danger men for Preston this season? Whose names are going to jump off the team sheet when I see it revealed next weekend?
Ben Whiteman, I think he is one of the best defensive midfielders in the league. He controls the game so well. His range of passing is incredible, and his set pieces are deadly. I mean, if you saw the Blackpool game when we played them, battered them 3-1, his free kick was sensational. Uh, it's now getting to the point where it's going to go. It gets to the point now where it's like he's going to find someone, and it'll be a shot on target, or even then, like against Blackpool, literally turned around to my dad and went, "This is going in. This is just," and it went in. So yeah, but yeah, so he's definitely one of the danger men because he simply can control the game and can take the game by the scruff of the neck. Josh Onama, who we've got on a 6-month deal. I need that man to sign a new contract. I can't bear to see that man go somewhere else. He's so good, so powerful, just carries the ball really well. He's a very good progressive player who looks to get forward, and he's just a brute. He just overpowers defenders, and it's just been a breath of fresh air because he's a midfielder we've always needed. Just
Mhm.
someone that bring that ball forward. And then the obvious one for me also is Tom Cannon, the striker. He's been sensational. I didn't particularly rate him at first.
Mhm.
For the first 2 months, he didn't score, and then he scored against Wigan, and then ever since then he's just taken off. And if you were to ask me if he had the full season, he'd probably be on about minimum 15
Wow.
championship goals. That kid has some serious potential, and I need that man back on loan at Deepdale next season because he is. Because with Ched Evans being out
Yeah.
and Emil Reese being out, he's just been so good. He's stepped up, and he just seems like nothing phases him in the minute. So yeah, I'd say Ben Pearson. Ben Pearson. Oh my word. Ben Whiteman, Josh Onamar, and Tom Cannon are danger men. But I will also say that Alvaro Fernandez as well. He's
Okay.
very tricky player. I love him so much. You can tell that kid is Spanish. The way he dribbles, the center of gravity, low center of gravity. He just makes a fool out of defenders.
Yeah.
And then obviously the captain at the moment, Daniel Johnson. He can really pull the strings in midfield as well.
Yeah, it's weird because every time United play Preston,
Yeah.
I really I'm you know it just they're one of the sides that it almost feels like United should win, but going into the game, I always second guess. It's like, well, it's Preston, man. they could pull up an upset and just beat us, shock defeat we didn't even see coming. And I'm glad you're not in the part of the season that we needed to, get over the line to get promotion, even though it might hinge on that game on Saturday if we don't get a result against West
Mhm.
Brom. But I'll ask you this: I don't know if you paid too much attention to United this year. Do
I
you have
have.
any thoughts? Do you know any? Are there any danger men that you guys are scared or worried about going into this matchup Saturday?
Yeah, I'll just get that team up a second because there are a few names that I'm absolutely worried about. And Dye being one of them.
Yeah,
I think he's sensational, and yeah, I'm just looking at the team now. Sanderberg as well. I think he's not particularly. Um, I've not really seen many people rate him as highly as I rate him, but I think he's very good, like sort of box to box midfielder who can carry the ball really well. And I was watching him against City, and I thought he was really good in like the first half.
yeah.
He's such a powerful runner of the ball, and yeah, I'm definitely worried about him. And I'm obviously your back three as well. You know, John Egan and Ahmed Hodzic.
You got
Ahmed
it. Yeah, you
Hodzic.
got it right. You
There
got
we
it
go.
right. A lot of
He's been absolutely incredible as well. Um, yeah, also players that I think also can have influence on the game, sort of like players like James McAtee and all that.
yeah.
To be honest, mate, I'm worried about your entire team because it's really good
It's
for
it,
those
and it's
players in particular.
from when you say those names back to me, and I watch them play every Saturday and every Tuesday or Wednesday when we play, and it's just like I'm kind of used to it. So it's like I know where all the flaws are in all those
Yeah,
players, and
exactly. Yeah.
McAtee. I mean, he's an absolute wonder kid, and I wish 100% that we could buy him and Tommy Doyle from Man City next
Tommy
year.
Doyle's very, very good as well.
They're City are probably not going to let McAtee go for anything besides a king's ransom because he's absolutely a world beater. We'll probably be
Mhm.
able to get Doyle into the door. Sanderberg, as I call him, Sandy Barge, because he just does. At some points, he will just barge through somebody's midfield,
Exactly.
but then he goes missing for. There's a stretch of games from January to I want to say the end of February where I didn't want him anywhere near the squad because he was just absolutely pathetic, and that's when we basically went on our bad run of form and
Mm.
almost got pegged back by Middlesbrough. And but no, on his day, if he's up for the game, I mean, I think he's one of the best midfielders in the game. And as you alluded to, Illman and Dye, obviously, we're recording this after the Man City, lost in the FA Cup semi. He had our most golden chance and opportunity
Mhm.
to win the game yesterday, and was obviously saved. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely out of his league in this league. I mean, he has Premier League written all over it. So he'll
Oh,
flourish
absolutely.
next year if we do get over the proverbial hump against West Brom
Yeah.
at midweek. So your thoughts on Saturday's game at Bramall Lane? You could throw in a score prediction. What are you thinking, Preston? 7-8-0 over United? Because if we do get promoted, we'll be all hungover, and United will ship the kids out there, and we'll just get battered at home.
If I'm honest, mate, I think I'm just going to be completely honest. I think we'll lose this about. I think 2-1. I think it'll be closer. Hopefully that you get after the West Brom game, it's over the line, and your players are absolutely plastered, and just you send the kids out there, and then we just give them a good lesson in football. And
Yeah.
yeah, if that happens, then maybe a 1-0 shithouse win I'll go for. But if I'm being truly honest, I'm going to go 2-1 Sheffield United. I don't see us winning this.
Yeah, no, I agree. It all hinges on what the result is on Wednesday night against West Brom at home as well. Um, but I mean, hell, look, did you read the article that came out today saying Burnley's going to could face a fine and points deduction for
Mm.
match fixing, putting out a weakened side against I think Reading or somebody. I mean, they lost yesterday to QPR, but I guess the Daily Mail just drum
Yeah,
up some BS and said,
they
"Oh,
do.
Burnley,
They absolutely do.
yeah, they could." have a points deduction. I'm like, first of all, I'm like, hell, we could win the league if they get, give them a big enough points deduction. We could, we could win
Exactly.
the damn league. But it's not going to happen. But yeah, obviously, like we alluded to, if United go and get a result, I think it's going to be a probably a lot of changes. Maybe a weak inside. The kids in the game with only 2 games remaining in the league. But if we, if somehow we slip up against West Brom and they beat us, or we only get a draw, I don't know. Even at that time, if Luton and Middlesbrough both get a point, a draw might do it for United on Wednesday
Yeah.
against West Brom. But if we have to put the full squad out there to achieve promotion, I think it's going to finish 2-1, maybe 3-1. But if we are a promotion is secured, I think we go out and it's 1-1. We'll
Oh,
probably get an
really?
early. It could be a 1-1 game, and we go out and get an early goal, and then do a little bit of squad rotation in the second half, and ship
Exactly. Yeah.
a goal in the second half. But I have one other question. I ask it to every opponent pod that comes on. Actually, I have 2 questions. Full-time whistle, last day of the season, that Monday, because of course we can't have the games on Saturday because of a little coronation that's taking place.
Oh, yeah. Bloody hell.
What position do you think Preston come in? Do they make the playoffs, or, as we alluded to earlier, miss out?
I think we'll miss out, and I think we'll finish 11th. That seems to be it seems to be the position we love the most ever since we've been promoted back. We love that 11th spot. We love it. It's amazing. Every fan jokes about it. We'll be like 5th in the table at the start of the season, and everyone go, I can't wait to finish 11th at the end of it. It's just what we do. It's what we do,
Yeah. No, it makes sense. One last thing for you. Match day. What's your go-to beverage?
Oh, good question. Recently, it's been Madri, which is a very good beer. But I have to go for, honestly, Moretti. It's unbelievable beer. Love it.
Okay, all right. That's interesting take. It's interesting to hear. Whether you dabble with alcohol or not, or just have soda or whatnot. It's interesting to hear other people's opinions and what they drink pre-match. But once again, mine is if I'm over in the UK, Carling, 100%. I get that reaction every single time. Every single time. Carling, they're like, oh, it's piss water. I've heard it all. But we can't get Carling over here in the States. So my go-to, if I'm at the pub watching the game, I'll pound down a handful of Guinnesses watching United play. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate we can't get Carling, over here in the States, because I would probably have it on a keg in my house somewhere and just pour me a tall glass. But Jack, thanks for coming on, and let the people know where they can find you and find the pod if they want to give it a listen, because now I have a new pod in my pod stream every week. The Preston North End podcast will go in there with all the opponent podcasts. So let the people know where they can find you on social media.
Yep, you can find us on Twitter at the Butterpie Pod on Twitter, and you can just search up the Butterpie Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and you will find us on there as well. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
You can follow us on social media, Red Half of Sheffield on Twitter, the Red Half of Sheffield on Facebook. Follow me at cjarvis_13 on Twitter and Instagram. And until Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff, hopefully it's a festive time in old beautiful downtown Bramall Lane, where everybody's hammered drunk, celebrating the Blades back in the Prem. Up the Blades.